If you're one of the people who enjoyed one of my recent videos, but you don't have a team, or you're doing LFG and you're struggling to just have other people help you get this done, and you need a solo build that can carry you pretty much all the way for your team, then this build is perfect for you. The craziest part is that at the end of the video, I'll give you a dim link to it, and this build is phenomenal. It's a mixture of the build that I had for my team comp. The purpose of this build is to lock down entire areas of the field, no matter what map you're on, and allow you to clear out all the enemies without too much issue. The other thing is you want to focus on constantly being able to generate orbs of power and having invisibility up as often as possible as well. You don't have to worry about other people running specific builds to make your stuff work if you have this build on. The foundation of this build is, of course, deadfall tether, as a lot of people call it. You know, you shoot it at the ground or on the wall, wherever, and it's just going to tether and attach to everyone, and it's going to slow them, it's going to suppress them, it's going to also then weaken them, and it's also going to create a bunch of orbs of power and lock them down for a substantial amount of time. Pairing this with, of course, the Orpheus rigs. Whenever you tag a bunch of people, you get a portion of your health back up to about 50%. Sometimes this can go up even higher, but this allows you to keep the train going of just popping a super, locking down a field, popping a super, locking down a field. Our aspects, we are first taking Vanishing Step, where dodging makes you invisible. For our second, we are taking Stylish Executioner, where defeating a weakened, suppressed, or volatile target grants invisibility and true sight. After performing a Stylish Execution, your next melee attack while invisible weakens targets. This plays pretty heavily into our gameplay loop of always wanting to be invisible, suppressing things, weakening things, having things explode. So these are the ones to go for. For our fragments, we're taking Echo of Expulsion, where avoidability final blows causes target to explode. Echo of Starvation, for picking up a Void Breach or Orb of Power grants Devour. Echo of Obscurity, where finisher final blows grant invisibility. Echo of Cessation, where finisher final blows create a burst of void damage that causes nearby combatants to become volatile. Defeating volatile targets creates a Void Breach. One thing this fragment doesn't mention is that when that explosion happens, it also creates a knockback effect, which can be very beneficial at times when you need to get people off of a point. For our helmet, we're taking a Harmonic Siphon because we want to only pretty much be using void weapons. We want to put on a heavy ammo finder because since we're going to be using a heavy weapon for one of our main weapons, we want to make sure we get heavy as often as possible. And the big one, Power Preservation. Your super final blows create orbs of power. With Deadfall, anytime we tether enemies, we can gain an additional 1 to 2 orbs every time an enemy gets tagged, and also every time an enemy is killed. For our gloves, we're just going to take things to give our abilities back, so Firepower to create an orb of power, and Momentum Transfer, where causing damage with a grenade reduces our melee cooldown. This is so our snare bomb can be up more often. This piece, of course, is just damage resistance stuff, so if you're in an activity that has Arc and Solar, put that on. If you have one with Arc and Void, put that on. Don't forget Concussive Dampener as well. For our Orpheus rig, we're going to be taking, of course, Void Weapon Surge, so our weapons do more damage, and Void Scavenger as well. Same thing going for Recuperation. For our class item, we want to take Special Finisher, so we can get additional ammo, because we'll always have armor charges. Proximity Ward, when we finish an enemy, we get an overshield momentarily. And Reaper, so every time we go invisible from dodging, our next weapon kill grants an orb of power. These are just things that create a gameplay loop of always having something, happening on top of something. We want to always be generating orbs of power for us and our fire team. We also want to be able to make sure that we always topped off on all of our stuff. For our weapons, of course, we want to always make sure we have the ability to take out multiple champions. So for our weapons, we are going to be taking a hand cannon. I'm choosing Warden's Law with Frenzy because I think it's a really solid roll. But also if you want to use Fatebringer, also really good. Your favorite hand cannon is really nice for this, for the Unstoppable. For our secondary, we're taking a Blinding Grenade Launcher. Of course, it's going to be Void. If you have a good rolled Wilder Flight, I would take that, especially if you have Repulsor Brace and Disorienting Grenades on it. If you can get Vorpal or Frenzy, as long as you have a damage perk, that also is really nice, but it's not really necessary. But as long as the GL has Disorienting Grenades that's all you need. And as long as it's void, even better, because we want to make sure that we are doing void things, so we have more and more explosions, more chances of going invisible, because that could be really beneficial later on in the higher waves. For our exotic, or for our heavy, we are taking Deathbringer. Now I know you probably have not used this weapon in a very long time, but Deathbringer is surprisingly busted in Onslaught. I've done it, a lot now, and I can definitely say that the ease of usability of Deathbringer and its ability to just chain all the kills, especially with a tether and just having the explosions, you can get a super in no time, less than a minute after you just popped it, especially with Orpheus rig, which is very easy because with us running Siphon, we can make more orbs for our team, and all the multi-kills will just explode everybody, so we just have true sight up way more often, more chances for weakening, more chances for volatile. It is phenomenal. It's also one of the few weapons that is really good damage against the Tormentor, even at wave 49 and 50. So as a lot of teams struggle with the Tormentor, Deathbringer is going to do a great job, especially if the boss is tethered. The boss will be tethered, and then Deathbringer will do a lot of damage because for some reason it just hits no matter what and does max damage. I would highly recommend going to the Enclave or going to maybe a Strike first and getting some practice with Deathbringer before taking it in here, because this rocket is totally different than any other one in the game. You have to pretty much pretend that you're using it like a grenade launcher, where you fire it, you hold it, and when it gets above a target, you release it. And then all of the Seekers, all the Axiom bolts track to the target underneath it and then chunk, and then does more damage the higher it is away from the target. Once you get the hang of it, then you're just going to run around just shooting it non-stop. Its ammo economy is also really good for some reason. You can make sure you have on the scavenger so you pick up more heavy. And if you get into the mindset of popping Tether at a group of enemies, then just shooting it over and over, you're going to have a fantastic time. This is also not taking into account the artifact, where then we can put on Argent Ordnance. But this allows us to do additional damage with our rocket launcher. Also adding in the Overload rocket launcher's artifact perk, then Deathbringer will then stun Overload champions and kill them in the same rocket. I was able to get multiple teams through wave 50 on multiple maps with this build, and I think you'll absolutely love it, especially if you are not able to just get other people to run the build that you need to for the synergy from my other video. If you just want to go in with a build that no matter what other people are running will help you get the job done, and I would highly recommend giving this build a shot. There's not a single thing that this build cannot do solo, no matter what your teammates are. So if you want to just get a wave 50 completion, this is fantastic. If you don't believe me, try out the build. I'll leave a demo link in the description and let me know how it works out for you. I had a lot of people take this build from chat and get their very first wave 50 completion, some on normal, some on legend, and I think it's going to be, unless they change some things with Onslaught itself, this build will last every week as everything rotates. If this video and this build helped you, if you think it's pretty great, if you use it, let me know in the comments how your experience is with it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully it helps you with Onslaught. I have a few more builds coming for you Warlocks and you Titans. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.